graduating seniors, y'all are clients, just give them grace in May and just know that they've lost their mind for a little bit, but they will find it eventually. Hold on, I'm going live in here. Where is it, a boy or girl? Do you have a daughter or son?
I have a son.
Where's he go?
He's going to go to A&M after this. My daughter is there. She's going to be a senior there next year too, so it's going to be great for them.
Smart kids, smart families.
No comment. No comment.
I'm
Hey,
muting.
I'm
I'm
on board
muting.
too.
Oh darn, Brian Copeland's muted. Shoot, how did that happen? Any of y'all that don't live in Austin or live in Texas, you know that, just so you know, A&M is the better school. Texas A&M is the better school. Any of these crazies that say,
We will
I'm
find
muted.
out.
He's muted. Oh shoot, Brian, you're muted.
We'll find out this football season.
Ugh.
And
Anyway,
I'm over here in my OU shirt.
Rachel's just confused. You know, everybody's confused. Where does your son go now, Keith? Where's he graduating from?
Like Travis High School.
Okay, like Travis. Okay, cool. Mine wanted to go to A&M. Pivoted a little bit. He's going to University of Utah. So
Wow, that's a pivot.
yeah, that's a pivot.
And a deeper pocket to pull from.
I know. I was like, okay. I don't know. I don't see Leo on here. I know he's coming. Hold on a minute. Yeah, he's accepted it. Let me see where. All right, what else is going on while we're waiting on Leo? I'm excited for y'all to get to know Leo. So when he comes on, for those that don't know, Leo is our new CEO, and I want him to share his story a little bit because I think you'll be able to relate to him quite a bit. What's super cool, y'all, is our C-suite. They all have their license. They've all been in real estate. Leo was #1 in the world for KW. If you guys know Remind, a lot of the MLSs use Remind. He created Remind. This guy is incredibly smart, incredibly humble, incredibly brilliant, and I'm excited that he's going to be with us this morning. So I would love for y'all to not be so shy. Make sure you have your cameras on. We'll have plenty of time for questions. I'm asking his assistant really quick where he is. Is Leo?
So how's the market going in everybody's areas? Things moving? Rates are going down?
We've got everybody across the nation. How's it going in y'all's? We're all talking in Austin that we're still having struggles with inventory and traffic, and our listings aren't flying off as quickly as we'd hoped. Anyone?
I finally saw good news on CNN yesterday in the national news that rates have gone down 3 straight weeks now. So that
Yeah, I would say it's just similar to other markets where as long as it's priced below what's sold, you're going to move it quickly. If it's above that, it's going to sit for a while.
Are y'all getting any pushback on commissions, on paying buyer commissions yet?
No different than any other time.
I have a listing tomorrow. No, I don't know. Yeah, tomorrow. And they've already called. It's a referral, and they called me. They're like, well, we just want you to know we want to meet with you, but we're not going to pay any buyer commissions. And I said, okay, curious. Why do you say that? And he's like, well, we just don't feel comfortable paying buyer commissions. Why don't you feel comfortable? So it's going to go into this whole question tree. So I'm going to meet with them. And he's like, well, we want to net this amount. I was like, well, if you net that amount or more, are you willing to pay buyer commissions? Sure. So it's interesting because there's a lot of misinformation in the media. And so I'm not going to get into that conversation with them over the phone. I just want to know what we're walking into, but it should be interesting, especially when there's a lot of inventory around them that are all paying some sort of buyer commission. So they're not going to really have much of a chance if they're not. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know where he is. Hold on. Let me text him.
He's a little busy.
No, I know, but he confirmed with me. Let me text him. Leo. Hi. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know if I feel comfortable taking a listing that won't do a buyer commission when you're investing so much money in the marketing.
Well, that will be my answer. I'd rather turn you down now than let you down later because I'm not interested in just
That's exactly right.
you know, I'm not going to take it, but
I've got a question. What if the buyer commission just comes? What if you get an offer? Agency page has 3%. What do you do then? What does the seller do then?
I think the contracts
think
are all
that-
gonna change. I mean, in the past, it's been, well, what was ever an MLS, but since that's being removed now, I don't know what the contracts are gonna look like.
I mean, I'll jump in on that one. I mean, that's just a simple, I mean, in my opinion, that's just like having a conversation about, you know, buyer concessions, right? In paragraph 12, I think it is, right? It's like, hey, look, they're asking for $15,000 for buyer's closing costs. Or, hey, look, they're asking for a $15,000 to be paid toward buyer's realtor fees.
Yeah, and if
I
I can
agree with
jump
Todd.
in, yeah, if I could jump in, Leo and some other folks shared that on one of the calls. It's just language: seller shall pay blank percentage or dollar amount towards buyer's buyer agency compensation agreement.
And it could be in the
Awesome.
contract in the offer too. You can add it. So
Yes, in the additional terms.
I think it's interesting though, like the conversation started off yesterday, well, we're not comfortable paying for this. And it's like, I think we need to get down to the reason why. And that's, as I kept asking questions, I think most of it comes down to their net. Right. And he told me what he wanted his net to be. Well, when I run the comps, I don't know where they're getting their valuations or the numbers, but they're actually well below what their comps are showing. So as long as I can show my value and I can show where their net is, I think that's their objection. But I don't know where people are getting their information or what they're hearing. Because we know it's a lot of misinformation out there. So I think if we ask more questions and understand what their real concern is, we can overcome that objection.
yeah, and I think is just educate our clients in the value of, you know, having a buyer's agent. You don't want your buyer not, you know, having a buyer's agent. Like
Elizabeth, do you know if they're planning on buying something if they sell this?
Oh, they live in Dallas. They live in Dallas and his job's in Dallas, so they're having to move. So they already have a home in Dallas. Why the question though?
Because I've seen some scripts where they talk about like, okay, when you sell this and you go to purchase, are you planning on, you know, setting aside a certain amount to pay me, or would that be helpful for them to come from the sellers? And having them think through it as a buyer, what would be best case for them?
Right. How can you let somebody?
that's great too.
That's ego.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. He thought it was at 10:15 Eastern. He's gonna jump in. I told him we're killing time till he comes on. So
Doesn't like
yeah,
losing.
Dave, I think that's I think that the reason I asked why the question, because that's going to come up and people are gonna need to buy and sell and things like that. That's a good.
I'll be okay with that.
I always think of buyer's agent's fees as an enticement to bring buyers in, so more like an advertisement, which you
It's-
put your property out there, and so you want to attract buyers, and that's one way to do it.
Well, to your point, yes, especially if there's inventory around and
to be sorry.
they're all paying,
You've nothing to be sorry for.
they're all paying. I don't know. It's already cashed in there. Especially if there's other inventory in there, that's all similar, right? So, I mean, if you guys are in Austin, you know Headwaters, those homes are pretty similar. There's nothing that's really distinct about one over the other. So they're just gonna go somewhere else where the buyer's agent knows they're gonna be compensated. Okay, Leo's cracking me up. He's like, oh my gosh, I thought he'll be on in a second. Anyway.
Well, and I think the other situation is even if a contract comes in and the buyer's contract comes in with 3% and the buyer's agreement with the buyer's agent is only 1%, they're going for that 2% to get it back to themselves. So, you know, you can't just assume it's all going to the agent or part of it's going to I mean, you need to assume that, you know, we don't know what their agency compensation is. I mean, it could be 1.5% and they're asking for 3% because they want that other 1.5.
They won't be able to get it in that situation. It's what's in your buyer's agent agreement that within eXp, that will be what you get from the brokerage.
Well, I know, I'm not saying the agent gets it. I'm saying the sellers, I mean, the buyers are wanting it. The buyers are
Gotcha.
wanting that other 1.5 for
No,
their
that's just
closing costs, or a point or whatever.
This is gonna, I don't know how this will come across, but I'm actually kind of excited to go up into this listing because a lot of times I've gotten complacent because most of my clients just call me to list now, you know, because it's all referral based. I mean, it's all repeat client based. But I'm kind of excited to go up against this with the objections tomorrow. And like I said, no harm, no foul. I'll practice on it. Hopefully it works. But if they don't see the value, to Keith's point, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on I mean, this is like a $900,000 home. So it's not that my marketing costs are going to be significant, and that I don't want to just walk away from it if they're not going to be realistic. But anyway.
Share with us how it goes on the next Friday meeting.
I will. Leo should be coming on in a second, guys. Jeff, would you write in here? Austin around,
I was saying they just released on a national level, if that's what he's talking about, buyer agent compensation does not count towards the buyer closing cost cap for all the different lending types. It's separate. Does that make sense?
say that again?
If you want to get closing costs for your buyer towards their closing fees, prepaids, taxes, whatever, and the buyer agent also wants to get paid, the buyer agent commission does not count towards the cap for the closing fees that the buyer is getting from the lending standpoint. It's separate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
think that even
correct.
goes
Yeah.
to, VA now. I think VA is also allowing that.
VA
Yeah,
was the big concern too, because a lot of my VA buyers were just wondering. So they just made that announcement the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great news for VA.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Leo, guys. Hold on. I think, where'd he go?
Good morning.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Apparently late. I thought I was on time. I apologize.
You're good. Andre and I were going
sent you
back
the
and forth.
screenshot where my calendar said 10:15, so I don't know who's fault, who's on first, but here I am. I apologize, but
No apologies. We just solved the world's problems in the first 15 minutes. So we're glad you're here. Welcome to
you're
Huddle.
my fourth meeting of the day, so it's feeling like lunchtime right now.
Oh, well, you're a trooper. We're excited to have you this morning. It's good to see you.
I'm excited to be with you guys.
I was telling them a little bit about you. I don't know how many of them have had the opportunity to get to know, you through some of the YouTube videos and the things that that you've shared, or some of the, I guess the rallies that you were a part of. But Friday Huddle, we get together. We're from all over the country, people coming together, and we talk production. We talk about what's going on in the market. We bring in different people. We've had Michael. We thought it'd be really fun to have you in. And I would love for you to share whatever you'd like to share. But one of the things, I do have a request. One of the things that you shared that was pretty impactful when I saw you in Charlotte and I think DC, was when you shared your story, your real estate story, and your journey from being 19 and kind of what you've done. So would you be open to sharing that here this morning? And then we'll go into whatever you want to discuss.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So as Elizabeth said, my name is Leo Pareja. I got licensed at 19 years old, and it was a very interesting journey because I actually went to school to do graphic design and to actually build software, which ironically is what I ended up doing. But I was being recruited by companies that don't exist anymore by the names of AOL and WorldCom my freshman year of college. It was during the peak of the tech bubble. And they told me if I went to college, got a degree, I could make $150,000 a year, which in today's dollars is a lot more. In my freshman year of college, the tech bubble blew up, and that was my first experience with watching the get moved, if you will, outside of my own control. In my sophomore year of college, I took an entrepreneurship class, and I wrote a business plan on starting a web design company. And it turned out it would cost me about $400,000 and take 2 years to break even. And that was very disheartening. And back then I would have had to buy a bunch of hardware, servers and stuff that doesn't exist anymore because we don't have AWS. But I read a book that was very impactful and changed the course of my life, which, I think for some of the folks on the call, it's reminiscent, but it was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever heard of leverage, of people, time, and money. And my father, who is my hero, is
All right.
28 years, 28 and a half years at the same company, corporate, never was on the entrepreneurship side. So that book kind of resonated with me on lots of levels. But my dad actually attended a personal growth seminar, and a gentleman used a script on him that till this day I've used, which said, "Would you like to invest passively in real estate?" And it was just a conversation starter to see if you wanted to buy some houses. And again, I would encourage you to use that with strangers or known folk, to find out if they want a rental property or two in their portfolio. But he asked him if I could grab coffee with him. I had read that book and a couple others, and I came prepared with my little script, and I offered to work for free for him, if he would teach me real estate. And he said, absolutely not. I don't have time to teach not-nosed kids the basics. But he said, if you're serious, I want you to call this guy named Claude Diamond, who was out of Colorado. And some of you may know that name. He's a coach, trainer, and he was the first person I ever met who actually lived in multiple cities. He spent half his year in Colorado, half his year in Hawaii. And as he described it, he was snowboarding and surfing year round, chasing the weather he wanted to be in. Got on the phone with him, turned out to be the best salesperson I ever met. Asked me, he told me he could teach me everything I wanted to learn about real estate, that it would only cost me $10,000. And I was a college kid, and that was at 25 years ago, inflation dollars. And I did what every reasonable kid would do, is I sold all my worldly possessions, did not tell my parents, did not tell my roommates, and I wired a stranger all my money once upon a time on the internet. But it turned out to be the best decision of my life. We signed a contract that had a clause in it that said wax on, wax off. If it's legal and ethical, you must do anything I ask you to do, or I keep your money. But it turned out to be a very intense coaching relationship, like many I've had since then. But he made me read everything that I could get my hands on about psychology and how the brain works. And so, I deeply understand that human beings make emotional decisions and then justify them logically. I understand that, there's anchors in how we make decisions. I understand that how that works in the brain. And so I learned to identify ready, willing, and able at the beginning of a conversation, before you waste your time with a nosy neighbor. And so this gentleman would have me run ads in the Washington Post that said 3-bedroom, 2-bath rent-to-own for $1,600 a month. And I would have 50 to 100 strangers call me on a weekend. And the whole goal was to control the conversation and build a database, because I wanted to be an investor. 6-7 months in, he said, you're getting your real estate license because you need to have access to the MLS. I complained. He said, remember that one clause, or I keep your money. So I passed my test. I called the original guy who blew me off, who had just bought the KW franchise to the state of Virginia. And I passed my test. He sponsored me, and I got really excited because I thought he liked me, but I just had a real estate license in a heartbeat. I joined Keller Williams at 19. I was in an argument with my landlord because our volume control was not on the same page, and I had to find a new rental. I was sitting on the MLS at the office looking for rentals. He walked past me, saw me looking for rentals, said, you should buy a house. I said, I'm a child, I can't do that. And he said, talk to the loan officer down the hallway. I walked down the hall. She qualified me. She said, you have excellent credit. You paid off our car. I was like, that's a long story, but yes, I did. And I qualified for FHA. She said, you got to get your parents to be non-occupant co-borrowers. I went home. I asked my dad. He said, hell no. I asked my mom very nicely, and she said yes. So my dad begrudgingly co-signed my $184,000 condo I found. That was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I borrowed the down payment from my parents in the morning. I got paid 3% commission and paid them back that evening. I rented out 3 rooms for $500 a piece. And I had my one transaction done before my 21st birthday. And I went on to sell all my fraternity brothers 11 homes that summer and made $60,000 that summer. And by my senior year of college, I did $306,000 in GCI. I thought I was kind of special. I didn't realize I was just in the middle of the greatest real estate bubble in the history of the world. By the time I was 23, my accountant had told me I was worth about $5 million. I had 14 rental properties. I was the principal broker of my KW. I was the youngest principal broker in the history of Keller Williams. And then August of 2007 happened, and I realized how not special I was. I gave it all back, lots of crying, lots of boogers. Decided I was not going to get out of real estate. Oh, and I had left Keller Williams. I started an independent, and I was sued by Keller Williams for over $1 million for tortious interference and non-competes and non-solicitations. Had to walk away from my independent, went back to Keller Williams, had to behave myself for 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, I was the #1 agent in the world for Keller Williams. I sold 603 homes in a 12-month period in 2010. So if you guys were in real estate, that was not an easy year to sell homes. There was about 4 million units like this year. And that was before internet allowed you to kind of do multi-state, multi-market. I went on to start a hard money lending business that became probably top 20 in the country. And then most recently, I started and founded a company some of you may have heard of called Remind, which is an MLS platform. Went on to raise $48 million, scaled it to 80% of every agent in North America, and exited both those businesses. And a friend of mine called me and said, "You're going to get a cold call from this area code, pick it up." And he said, "Hey, it's Glenn Sanford." And he said, "Would you like to come play with us?" He offered me to be the chief technology officer. I politely said no. And then he called me back a week later, said, "I didn't expect you to say no. But what would you be willing to do?" I went and spent a day with him. We got to know each other on a personal level and realized that we had very similar paths and journeys. And he basically said, "Would you write a job description that you're willing to do and come hang out? I think you can help me fix things." I joined as the president of our affiliated companies in May of 2 years ago. 6 months later, he called me and said, I read about this title that I like called Chief Strategy Officer. And that's the title I got 6 months after that. And then about a month ago, he called me and said, "You're our new CEO." So here I am. That's the slightly longer version, Elizabeth, than the one I can tell.
I could listen to it every single time. I've heard it multiple times, and it's fascinating. And I was telling them before you came on, and what's amazing is our C-suite. Y'all have been in the trenches with us. You've sold real estate, you're licensed. And I think it's so inspiring to hear your story, and especially coming from 19 years old and what you've done in the market that you did it. It's just, it gives them a little bit more of a sense of who you are, where you've been, and where we're going. So do y'all have any questions yet for Leo? And then we can jump into conversations. Come on, guys. Don't be quiet this morning.
I have a question.
Who is that?
Me and Todd.
Oh, okay. Todd, go for it.
Leo, I love the snot and boogers comment. I think there's a lot of people out there right now that are kind of in that situation. It's a tough market these days. Give me some mindset tips or thoughts on, how do you take your business from, essentially, being sued by Keller Williams to being the top Keller Williams agents, 36 later?
Yeah, so this word is my favorite word in the English language. And I think it's like the one you need to start off all kind of decisions in your life with, and be as pragmatic as possible. I truly think life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. I saw a keynote once, which I don't know if it's factually correct, but it's a great story. So I'll tell it anyway, with the caveat that it could be made up. But I've read that 70%, or I heard it on a stage, that 70% of every world leader has one very crazy commonality, which is they lost one or both parents prior to turning 15 years old. And that goes for presidents, dictators, left to right, kind of like anyone who gets to run a country has this very specific story part of their journey. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because losing a parent as a child is probably the most traumatic thing that can happen to you, right? Like, that's who takes care of you, who loves you. And then after you hear that, the speaker said, there's another portion of the human population with the same statistics at the same percentages, and it's people in prison, right? So the same horrifying thing happens to you, and it is what it is, but you could either look on it as I survived this, I'm going to take over the world, which half of them did. And or said, I did not, I survived this and woe is me, and I'm going to go in a different path. So I think anytime there's an event, you can make the conscious choice to decide what it is you're going to do. And for me, it was the world ended. Do I want to stay in real estate? Yes or no? It was super binary. I can choose. And Todd, I think that's an excellent question, which I've been preaching to people. I think what we do is a noble thing. We put American families in their single most important asset and the single most important decision of their life, because it's not only where you put in your address or your tax return, it's where you raise your kids, it's where your memories are created, it's where everything that you choose to happen for your family takes place. So I think what we do is extremely noble. I refer to us as Sherpas, guiding people through a very, potentially dangerous process. Anytime there's new information, meaning 2008 and the market collapses, COVID, and you need to potentially not be allowed to do things unless you do it in a certain way. Now the NAR DOJ settlement, you always have a decision. Do you want to do this for a living? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, you now have a new rule set of ways to operate. And being in this industry for 2 decades, I have many friends who said no and went and got a job. And I actually even take it a step further when I'm feeling a little spicy on stage, and I tell people, pull out a pen, and I'll make you guys do this exercise right now, and divide your 1099 from last year by the number 2080 hours. And that is what the Labor Department says is a working calendar year. And actually for realtors, it's probably light because you guys work nights and weekends. But if you do that math problem, you come up with an hourly rate of what you earned for your time last year based on your income earned. And most of the time when I say it to people, they normally either smile or frown a little bit, because you could find out that you actually make a really good hourly rate, or you find out that you could be installing signs or delivering documents for $25 an hour, right? And I always start by saying, I think every year you're in the business, you should have this very honest conversation with yourself and your loved ones, right? I have a 7 and 9-year-old, and they are my priority. And Elizabeth knows that I will pretty much do anything to not disrupt that, right? I take my kids to school most days. They're in the other room watching TV because they got out of school yesterday and we're going to have lunch together. And then Sunday they come with me to Europe, and they come with me to the West Coast where I'll be most of the summer. But like, I'm very clear on what my priorities. Like if doing this role would take me away from them X amount of nights, I would say no thank you to Glenn, because I'm clear as to what is important to me. And I think, and I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, Todd, but I think in having your business, it's, there's a season, and right now it's not fun in real estate. And I always remind people that last year was the worst transactional year in 35 years, and this year will be the same. Meaning that winning this year right now actually is surviving, because there's going to be so much attrition that if you guys just hold on and break even or have a decent year, you're actually gaining market share. And if you're in this for the long haul, that's actually okay. And that's why keeping your expenses low and having diversified investments is always such a good idea. But life is all about making choices, right? And when I do that hourly rate question, I used to live in DC, and if you're making below X, it's much easier to get a government contracting job. You have security, you have 9 to 5, and then you can go home and be present for your kids. But if you choose this life and build it with systems and processes, you can, I think residential real estate is the single best opportunity in the United States to build wealth with a low barrier of entry. And I mean that from having built 2 very large, 10-figure companies and raised a lot of money. The investment you need to make in yourself to get a real estate license and build a 6 or 7-figure income is almost not possible in any other segment of entrepreneurship, where you have to buy heavy equipment, sign large leases, invest in tech, or have a large staff. So I truly think this is the most amazing opportunity in this country for the investment. And I think it will continue to be. I think the changes will make the best rise to the top.
That's a pretty amazing answer, Leo. Love it. Megan, real quick, Jeff, I see your hand, but Megan wanted to have a question.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. Leo, appreciate you being on, and with you being in the business for as long as you were and being a top agent, what would you recommend in this shifting market that we can do as agents immediately and go and implement in our business? What do you think is the number one thing we should focus on?
Well, that's well, it's always the basics is stay in touch with your sphere of influence. And the coolest part about this business is I have met people, and I'm talking about from, call it 150 to $500,000 in GCI, who've built remarkable businesses, and I'm not exaggerating, 200, 300 different ways. And it starts to me with having a super honest conversation with yourself on how you're wired and what your God-given talents are. So for example, I'm a DI, I don't know if you guys can tell, and I'm like a 10-10 on SC. And I have zero attention to detail. Andrea, who's my EA, keeps track of my life, said I was supposed to be here at 10:15, so it's not on me, Elizabeth. I have systems and processes as to how I want to see. So the accounting team has a flash report that shows me the numbers on a weekly basis for the entire business, from transactions to top line revenue to agents who join, agents who leave. And it's in a format that I can digest. Like if you were to present me a raw like P&L as to how we file our tax returns, I'm going to get bored halfway through. And so what I'm telling you, Megan, is there is ways to do this business that are really specific to you. And where I think you win and where you don't run out of energy is, and again, when I talk about energy, I'm talking about just like, I'm not talking like crystals and essential oil. I'm talking about like, am I worn out by the end of the day? Because what happens is if you're worn out every day because you're doing stuff that requires you, I think everybody has a high enough IQ to do just about anything. So I can look at Excel all day long and I can actually read a P&L, but I don't like it. There's one day a month where I do 6 hours of it, and I make sure that I don't schedule date night or stuff with my kids that night because I'm probably gonna not be very nice. Or I'm just gonna be, not rude, but just tired. So I think if you find stuff that gives you energy, you will always be able to focus on that. So for me in the transactional business, it was, I focused on multi-transactional customers who gave me lots of transactions every year, hedge funds, banks, developers, builders. And a lot of it was person to person rapport building, taking them out to lunch, taking them out to dinner. My customers and I were very close. We'd go skiing together. I was invited to their weddings. So for me, it was never really hard, right? I really enjoyed it. And I was very hands-on, and I walked the properties, and I was involved in selecting the colors and picking the floor plans when we built new construction. And that stuff is fun to me. But like if you guys told me to cold call strangers and get rejected, I would last about 3 days because that sounds as fun as playing in traffic to me, to my personality. And what I'm truly aware of, it's not right or wrong. There's just who you are. So I would figure out who you are and what's kind of in line with your principles and what gives you energy, and then just time block and be super consistent. Super consistent. I did an interview with a young lady that I'm going to post in the next couple of weeks, who used to do $20 million a year in volume, decided to switch to being a listing agent solo producer. She's on track to do $40 million in pure listings per this year. And she prospects strangers 2 hours a day, expireds. And the way she talked about it, that's why I want to share it with everybody, was so awesome, because she truly thinks she's helping them. And she goes into this with this mindset, but I cannot do that if I wanted to. And that's kind of the beauty of being a human being. Like, it works for her. And what worked for me, like I spent Tuesday of this week in Miami with hedge funds at an IMN conference on listing presentations for you guys, because I still actively pitch hedge funds to give us thousands of listings for revenues. And I can talk about, loss severity and ROI and return on equity and that stuff all day. And I get really excited, but I'm a nerd like that. And so for some folks to do that would be outside of their comfort zone and probably exhausting. So I think you just need to figure out what you're good at, go all in on that. And then no matter what the market is, Megan, that's right now it's kind of the easy time to be like, oh, what are the basics? You got to be able to do the basics to 2011 when deals are falling out of the sky.
Jeff,
Good morning, Leah. Thanks for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
For those that do not know what Remine is and how it can benefit some of us, I know some agents I work with use it, some don't know what it is. So can you just briefly just share what it is and how it can benefit us?
Yep.
Thank you.
Remine is an MLS deployed property intelligence platform that is most likely in most of your MLSs, statistically speaking, but it is it's used as a public record tool, kind of like Realist, but that's not what I built it for, Brian. So I always like explaining what I built it for. I built it as the best prospecting tool in the history of the world, and I still stand by that. And at least once a week, an agent calls and tells me they take 2-3 listings a month with it, but it visually displays public record data on a map interface. So picture Google Maps. You can draw a polygon and ask pretty much any set of questions, like show me, like, by drop downs, you can select, show me every lot over 6,000 square feet with a home built before 1960 with less than 2 baths with no mortgage on it. So you can start with a 30,000 property area and trim it down to about 1,400. Funny enough, Brian, my wife and I are going to use it today because she's licensed in Miami, because my parents are ready to come over and we're trying to find a home in our subdivision. So I want somebody who's been on title more than 20 years with no mortgage. I want a specific envelope for the square feet of the lot, because eventually I'll tear it down. But in the meantime, I want to buy it, put my parents in it. When they no longer need it, we can tear it down and build new construction.
Awesome. Thank you.
Leo, I know you're high DI, but it's so funny to hear that you don't have a lot of C, because with all the things you've done, I mean, it's shocking to me, especially with Remine, right? What you were just describing, that kind of stuff wears you out, all the details and spreadsheets and things. I thought you geeked out a little bit over that. So I misread you for sure.
Well, and it's an adaptive behavior
Yeah.
to getting my ass kicked, right? During the financial crisis, I did not know all the details on my mortgages. I did not know all the details on leverage and how much reserves you should have and all that stuff. So now I'm surrounded by people. Like Andrea literally pins me down once a week and she's like, Leo, you haven't answered these questions. I need these answers. Like I hadn't booked the hotels for Europe. I leave on Sunday. So she's like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. You said you were going to do it, but I'm doing it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, more questions coming up. Brian Copeland. Brian, you're muted, hon. Rookie move.
Sorry. We're all small business owners as realtors, and a lot of us have learned how to treat it like a real business. And what financial advice would you give us as small business owners that we need to stand by, just basics on how much to put away, how much should we reinvest in our business, how is there a certain percentage towards marketing? What advice can you give us to help us operate more efficiently and be more sustainable with what's coming around the corner?
That's a really good question, Brian. If I could make Elizabeth the responsible party to remind me to probably put some training around that, because that's actually, so I think Brian, it's dependent on the market cycle, right? So I've heard all kinds of numbers that I could spout out, but like you should have 6 months of reserve in your personal and your business. I mean, the one that I would feel bad not saying to everybody is always control your fixed liability, right? The scalability is a word that people throw around, and you normally only think of up versus down in scalability. And that's actually when I talk to Wall Street all the time about. We're an asset light model because we don't have fixed long-term liability. So there is another publicly traded company, I won't name their names, but their outstanding liability on leases is $509 million. That makes me go, ugh, right? Like that, I can't even understand how that CEO sleeps at night. Because we are in a transactional business, and we as you all as well, because you can only service what is available in the market, right? Your piece of your local pie, but you are somewhat constricted by 4 million transactions this year versus 7 million transactions in 2021. And I'm rounding to round numbers. But just understand that that's like from peak to valley, 45% less transactions depending on the MSA you're in. So it doesn't matter how good you are, that is a massive fluctuation in a 24-month period. So, you know, the most conservative version of that, I would say read Dave Ramsey. And then there's probably, you know, variations of the risk you're comfortable with. And honestly, for me, it really depends as to the season of life you're in. I bet the farm all the time from 19 until probably 28. Probably even 31 when my daughter was born. And that shifted my risk tolerance significantly, where it's like, okay, I'm not willing to start over anymore. And again, not right or wrong, the bets I took in my 20s put me in the position that I'm in today. And I would have been able to build the companies and sell the companies I built if I didn't take those risks. But I think the season of life you're in is very determinant about the amount of risk you should take. But yeah.
Yeah, so Leo, we're gonna hold you to a training on that. You said it first, so we'll hold you to it.
I said, I'm holding you two to reminding me though, so.
Okay, I'll remind you. You do
I
the training,
forget
I'll
you guys
remind you.
being mad at Elizabeth.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Chat, all you. Muted too. You're muted too. I think I muted
now,
everybody
can you
coming
hear
in.
me?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, go for it.
Can you hear me? Hey.
Yes.
Hey, Leo, thank you for your time. It was exciting to hear that your background is new development and multi-transactional stuff. That's kind of what, you know, the sandbox I like to play in. And currently working on a deal here in Austin. I was really encouraged to hear that eXp is building a kind of a new development division. And Elizabeth was kind enough to put me in contact with a couple of those players. And I want to know, you know, what do you see as far as, you know, going out and really capturing that business in each of our markets, and what kind of tools are we going to have to help, you know, capture those?
So and I've been saying this from stages, and I want to articulate as many times as I can. I truly see eXp as a platform that allows real estate entrepreneurs to build whatever size dream they want. And what that means to me is you can be, you know, Justin Haver, who last year sold 1,100 homes in Canada, Avery Call, who sold 956 homes in the US, or you could be a lot closer and more in line with the vast majority, closer to 70% of our agents, who are solo practitioners who sell 10 to 15 homes and provide for their family. You could have 0 people in your rev share group, or you could become Elizabeth Riley. And I really think it's important that you set your goals and being in line with what it is you're looking for. And part of being a platform is being aware of all the different opportunities out there and providing you all the tools to go capture that business. So, and where I guess I'm going with that is I don't believe that I should, or the company should, kind of direct this strategy as to like, hey, we need to go do this in every market. Where there's an opportunity and there are tools to be had, like, so for example, that we had a call in the panhandle of Florida for a developer who was interviewing one of our agents to list, and I'm not mispronouncing this, 3 billion with a B amount of real estate. And the agent called corporate, and I actually jumped on the call with them and the developer, and we actually partnered them with another agent that we introduced them to who has massive experience, and they actually secured the listing, and they're actually going to be our headlining sponsor for eXpCon Miami. So I believe we should be there to support you guys in any endeavor you have, and also know that we're available for that. So there are many agents with corporate relocation or big development stuff who will reach out and ask Michael or I to jump on the call, and someone from corporate, just more in the sense of we have awareness of it and we're willing to support you, but we also very careful to not cross over any lines where you guys feel we're competing with you. So in Revenos, we have relationships with some of the same companies you do in Zillow Flex, Realtor.com, Rocket Homes, but and I have very close relationships with all their leadership, but I always go above and beyond to explain to them that we are here to, if you want corporate to lean in, we normally like to fill in the gaps where you may not be partnered with one of our agents, and we can put you in touch with them. But we want to be very, very careful to not be competing with you. So whether it's new construction, land and ranch, sports and entertainment, we have a lot of stuff being built that was by request, right? So you guys are the ones who dictate the roadmap to us. If I hear enough of you ask for something that prioritizes it, yes, but I just wanted you guys to hear that we're very careful to not be the ones dictating the roadmap and the strategy. We're here to support you guys from a platform side.
Does that help? Yeah.
Brett, your hand up.
Oh yeah, Brad has a hand up.
And I got a 10-minute warning to my next call, but you have me until they text me and say, where are you at?
You're awesome.
Hey, Leo, Brad, 5 in Atlanta. I've been with the company 2 years after 21 years with Keller, running offices there, and grew a substantial amount of profit share. Just interested, you've been with multiple companies. What, in your mind, like the top 3 to 5 things with eXp would you say attracted you to this company that we can use as far as attracting other people to this company?
I talk about this all day long, Brad. So great question. So first of all, especially if you're comparing profit share to rev share, profit share is pure and clean and transparent in the sense it's 50 cents and 50 cents. Profit share is below the line revenue sharing versus top of the line, which was always confusing. I attracted a lot of people to KW, and I never felt that the return on investment for my time and energy was there. So it's super transparent. I would say in these times right now, that scalability comment I made is super important because I talk about it to Wall Street all the time. We can right size this company. And again, if you were to follow our financials over the same 8 quarters you've been here, Brad, we were able to reduce a whole lot of information or cost out of the business to match the amount of transactions in the marketplace while not affecting your level of service. We've actually probably really improved the agent care experience, first level support, brokered agent count metrics, while other companies had to, reduce 40 to 50% of their expenses just because they have so many fixed expenses. So the scalability of our company to withstand a market shift like the one we're experiencing, and by the way, it's going to get worse before it gets substantially better. I'm saying this as loud as possible, and I'm saying it to Wall Street that I think August 17th on for 6 to 18, 24 months will be wildly messy. I think most agents are not prepared for the shifts coming with the NAR settlement. I'm not sure that agents are equipped to verbalize a value proposition. And when asked by Wall Street what my singular focus till the end of the year is to put all of us in the best position with education, with presentations, with paperwork, with buyer representation agreements, with the ability to articulate value proposition, i.e. eXp exclusives, and how we have unique, when you're signing a buyer representation agreement, you're actually also providing them with unique inventory that's not available in other parts of the market. But the most important thing, Brad, that I always talk about is people join people. Models can be copied as we have seen, right? We have about 23 bootleg versions of us out there in various sizes. But what can't be replicated is the human beings, whether it's you guys as agents, top performers, influencers, kind of thought leaders in the space, to leadership, right? I think people join people, and that's flat out why I was at Keller Williams for so many years, and probably why you were there for so long. But I firmly believe we have the smartest real estate entrepreneurs in the industry at this moment, from production, from attraction, from big thinking, from pushing the envelope of what are the better ways of serving customers, whether you're doing in a hyper local market with sphere of influence, or you're in 21 resort markets focused on second homes and selling almost 1,000 homes a year. So I think people join people, and I very clearly articulate that. So for some that don't know, our top 250 teams in 2023 sold 69,000 plus homes. That would make that small group of teams the 6th largest transaction count company in the United States. I don't think it's an accident that the smartest, best entrepreneurs in the industry are here.
Thank you.
Love it. Leo, we've got about 6 minutes and I know you are back to back to back. So 2 questions that are coming up, and they're completely unrelated. Number one, can you debunk the false narratives about the other copycats that they're all profitable, we're not, because I know we're leading the way in a number of those things. And then the second one, there's a lot of noise around the NAR, and I know there's a lot of conversations with NAR right now, but we are ahead of the game. I know a lot of the conversations that have gone on, but can you share why we're so ahead of the game on the NAR settlements?
So real quick on your first statement, I actually had never heard somebody say that we're not profitable, and they are. Our copycats, especially the public ones, are wildly unprofitable. From a unit economic basis, from a total category, we're the highest valued publicly traded real estate company. We're the only one even close to profitability. Last year, fully baked, we took a net loss of $9 million, but we also took a $9 million write down on a non-cash event. So if we were to back out the non-cash event, we would have been the only company who is profitable in our sector. One of our copycats who's publicly traded sets cash on fire at a very high rate. Not just Compass and Anywhere, like the legacy ones are copycats. And if anybody needs to reference it, go to MikeDP.com, MikeDP.com, and he's got very good spreadsheets where he boils down. He's got 2 or 3 articles in the last 6 months, if you guys just tab back, that show one of them.
My massages will be scheduled.
One of them's called Profitability as something of health of a business, and then there's another one that talks about the unit economics. You can actually see how much more profitable we are than everybody else. So it's not by a little bit. We're the only company that makes money and is sustainable. And then to the NAR question is, I would say it's been my single focus from, like, we're the first and only company who's rolled out its own version of a buyer representation agreement that's new and different. We crafted a 1-page, one time, if you will, fill in the blank, whether it's compensation percentage wise or flat fee wise. And we're just being as proactive as possible instead of reactive as possible. And I chat regularly with my top teams that have large buyer agent teams, internet leads, cold leads, where we're getting real-time feedback to what's happening out in the field. And I mean, I'm talking to people in leadership at MLSs, associations on a regular basis, where we're going to prepare you guys, because the problem with the NAR settlement is it's not final and it's not in place yet, right? So I always go to tactical questions of like, okay, so if the new rules say X, how do you enforce it? What are the penalties? What happens if you don't do it? Like, is the penalty a $500 fine, or is it a penalty that I have to wire back the commission and you're not allowed to earn it? Do you get suspended from the association, from the MLS access? There's so many tactical questions that I go to. And so for me, it's being nimble and being prepared to be able to adjust and lead the way. And oh, by the way, I also think that this is the most important growth opportunity you guys are going to see coming up. The amount of small independent to mid-sized brokerages who are calling me on a regular basis now, asking how they can come over with 50, 100, 1,000 agents would blow your mind. And if I could leave you with one parting thought is, there's anyone in your phone who you're probably scared or intimidated to present the opportunity, I would use a script to the effect of, I just got off the phone with our CEO and he shared that, a 500-person independent joined in Miami 3 weeks ago, and there's a 1,300-person independent who's probably coming in the next 2 months. And if you had any questions, I can probably get you on the phone with our CEO because of your size of your organization that, I may not be able to explain it to, but he's willing to have those conversations with you all. And I would say, put me in front of the largest teams or independents that you can, and I will close them and put them in your downline.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. One last question in the chat that I just don't know if you're seeing. It says, so Compass is manipulating numbers or something like that, ? Because I see them saying things like they make a ton of money. Same with Real. I heard someone say Real raised money recently to wipe away all of their debt because they were in the hole and not actually making any money. Can you address that real quick?
I can address both of them. Real and Compass have never made a single dollar in net income. Public companies have several forms of reporting numbers. There is net income, there is EBITDA, and then there's adjusted EBITDA. Real has only ever delivered adjusted EBITDA, and so has Compass. Adjusted EBITDA does not count stock compensation, which is the most important thing in the worlds we live in. Compass is wildly unprofitable. They lost in their 10Q, and again, if I'm off by a couple dollars, feel free to double check. But on a net income basis, Compass lost $389 million in 2023. Real lost $27 million. Real is cash flow positive purely from selling stock to agents, not because their core business is profitable at all. So adjusted EBITDA are the only ways those two companies have ever claimed to make any money. But from a net income basis, from a cash balance net accounting basis, how you guys live your life, that if you make $10, you need to spend 8 to have 2. Neither one of them have ever made net income money.
Thank you.
And those are facts.
Those are facts. Leo, thank you for your time with us this morning. This was awesome. I know you're so crazy busy right now, but the fact that you take time to meet with the agents is huge. Thank you for your leadership. We would love to have you come back down the road, and I look forward to seeing you in Europe.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Leo.
Y'all have an amazing Friday. We will see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank
Put
you.
this
Thank you,
together is
Leo.
awesome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.